Welcome to She Who Heals, the spiritual business podcast for healers to take up space and talk about the services they provide. When healers serve more lives, more people are able to live in the peace and joy this world has to offer. I'm your host, healer, and spiritual business coach, Alyssa K. Barrios. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of She Who Heals, the spiritual business podcast for healers to take up space. We are in the first episode of 2022. I may have said that right, and I'm just going to keep going with that. So 2022 has already been a magnificent year, full of magic, full of manifestations finally happening, and full of faith. But doesn't mean that it's always easy. So if you follow my most recent post, I share a lot about when life continues to just be beautiful and magical and you accomplish and receive everything you're desiring, it does not mean that the hardship goes away. It just means you start to believe in yourself even more. And maybe that means having even more boundaries or less apologies and more cheering yourself on. So this episode is sponsored by our Reiki 1 and 2 classes and Reiki Master classes. We are open for enrollment and we will have Reiki 1 and 2 classes in January and March. We will also have our first ever Reiki Master training under the full moon in February. So if you are wondering what is Reiki, if you are hearing of Reiki, maybe you've even used Reiki or you've worked with a practitioner, you can actually bring this energy power into your own life and into your own energy. If you know Reiki, Reiki does not believe in time and space. It is an energetic connection that is infinite. And if you really go deep into what Reiki is, it works with higher power. It works with the energy that we can't see, but we know exists. And that energy lies within our heart space. That energy lies within all of our dreams, all of the good, beautiful, infinite divine feelings of love. That is all Reiki. That is what Reiki works with. And Reiki is so beautiful to sponsor this episode because we're going to be talking about vision boarding in today's episode. So this is an excerpt from a workshop I did at the end of 2021 to help others get really clear with what vision boarding actually is. It's not just an activity that you want to do with your girlfriends on the weekends or with your friends or your partner. Yeah, that's nice, but there needs to be intention with it. And we're going to get really, really deep into that in this episode. And the beautiful part about Reiki sponsoring this episode and Reiki being infused in this episode and Reiki being infused in these teachings and Reiki being infused in my own vision board and creations is that Reiki is helping to clear away any negative energy that is aligned or in the way of my visions, my desires, and my manifestations. With the power of Reiki, you are able to give your visions, your desires, and even your heart that may not believe that what you desire is yours, that it may not even be possible. It is possible. And Reiki helps you ground into your truth and into your desire. It gets you closer to believing in everything that you desire, and it gets you closer to letting go anything that is in your way. So with the power of Reiki, here is today's episode. If you are interested in enrolling, please send alyssakbarrios@gmail.com an email or sign up via Instagram. We are available for you 24/7. We love you, fully supporting you, and cannot wait to take you on a magnificent journey into your deepest desires. Enjoy the episode. Let's get into the ooey gooey of what is even vision boarding and what is this whole next level version of you that you keep talking about. And pretty much it's simple. It's pretty simple, but there is a little bit of pieces that we're missing, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about. So let me ask you this first. Obviously, have your pen and paper next to you. I want you to write down, what do you want more than anything in 2022? What do you want more than anything? But I'm going to ask you to claim maybe 3 or 4 and start there just for this experience. Sometimes we could get really overwhelmed because we want all of it, and that's okay. But I want us to practice what I'm going to teach you right now. So what we're doing is listing down those 3 to 4 things that we want more than anything in 2022. Now for this next piece, I giggle because I'm like, it's so simple, but this is the work where it's like getting really focused and clear. But, and I only say but because this is the part that we get to play with, and sometimes we could feel really serious in creating this. And also, not only can we feel a little serious doing this next step, we also miss this next step, which means we're blindly just choosing pictures or we're choosing cutouts that look cool, but it actually is not what we really want. We're letting others decide for us based on not intentionally choosing those pictures, not intentionally saying, this is exactly what I want. Not last, but the second step, most important step, is getting even more specific and clear with each one of those greatest desires of 2022. So start with 1. Circle the one right now that you want to play with and don't overthink it. Welcome to energy work. Don't overthink it. Circle the first one that you're like, oh, that's it. But what about this one? No, stop. Stop the thinking. Just choose the one that you're like guided to, because I promise you there's for like a magical reason. If you work with me, you're probably like, oh my God, she's not going to ask this next question because I like to ask it a lot. What does that desire feel like? What does that desire look like? What are you actually doing with what it is that you want? So I'm going to give you an example. I want travel. The old me is going to look through magazines and just find pictures that look cool. No, maybe you're trying to manifest that perfect divine union. Great. What are you guys doing together? Are you lying in a park reading a book? Are you lying in the park writing? Are you going on walks? Are you taking them to your favorite museum? But then we can go even deeper. How do you look at them? How do they hold you? How do they touch you? Do you imagine your legs are wrapped around them as they're holding you close? Do they just stare at you for no reason? Just to look? That's what I mean about getting more specific. That's exactly what I mean. You want to be a full-time yoga teacher? Where? What do your students say about you? And you can apply this to being a full-time business coach, full-time healer, full-time fitness coach. What are your clients saying about you? Not only are you a full-time yoga teacher, but how do you prove and show that you're the best at what you do? So by choosing that one, get really clear. What does that feel like? What does that look like? And then maybe it is travel. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you see at that place you're traveled to? Are you overlooking the ocean? Are you looking up at the sky? Is it a sky room you're sitting in? What do the streets look like? So it's getting so specific. And this is where you can play with the senses of your existence. What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? So maybe for travel, maybe it smells like Italian food and really delicious red wine. Maybe you're outside of a beautiful small restaurant and there's cobblestone because you're probably traveling Italy. You can have anything you desire, and what it is that you see and feel is yours gets to be yours. But it's doing the work to see and to ask yourself and be honest with what it is that you want. Once we get clear and specific here, those specifics, and maybe move on to your next one. That's why I said let's just choose 3 to 4, because as you get even more specific with each one of those greatest desires you want for the year, you're going to have 10 to 20 pictures to represent, 10 to 20 different stories to represent that one desire. let yourself be seen. Maybe you're thinking about a past manifestation you had and it didn't come true, and you're like holding on to that resentment of like, does manifestation really work? Like, this is your time and space to be seen, and you're now responsible for the next steps. Continue vision boarding, take up space, and I love you.